Welcome back to Creepypasta Tapes, the archive of the strange, the haunted, and stories that were never meant to be found. Tonight's tape is pulled from a place few dare to speak of, the inside of a house that should have been empty. Tonight's story is called, During My Last Robbery, I Found Something I Shouldn't Have. This isn't a story about getting rich quick. It's not even about a job going wrong. It's about what happens when you slip past locked doors and realize something else has been waiting behind them, longer than you've been alive. If you think this is just another break-in story, think again. Some houses keep secrets, others, they keep things. Press play, and remember, not every treasure is meant to be stolen.
Chapter 1. The Perfect Crime. They say preparation is everything, but preparation doesn't stop the air from going still. It doesn't explain why the shadows feel wrong, and it sure as hell doesn't warn you when something inside the house is already awake. There's an art to it. Not the job, the discipline, knowing when to wait, knowing when to move. 4 generations of this, passed down like a black-gloved heirloom. My father used to say, if you want to stay alive in this line of work, never chase the gold, chase the silence. And tonight was supposed to be the quickest job I'd ever planned. The target was an estate, tucked behind hills and hedges, wealthy, but not vigilant. A classic contradiction. Rich enough for marble fountains and imported chandeliers, but cheap enough to skimp on real security. I've been watching them for weeks. Patterns never lie. Family left every Friday for their lakeside home 2 hours out. Housekeepers clocked out at exactly 6 p.m. Cameras were real, but old, analog junk, feeding into a closed DVR system with no cloud. And the dogs? Retired show breeds. Pretty lazy. I knew the guard schedule. I knew the delivery drop-offs. I even knew the rhythm of their motion lights. One sensor, lower garden, had a full 6-second delay. 6 seconds can save your life. I parked a block away. No plates, no phone, no Bluetooth. Clothing soft, bag lighter than usual. Just tools, gloves, glass cutter, flashlight, and rope. The night air was still. Cool, but not cold. Dry leaves scattered the pavement, and my boots made no sound against the concrete. I crossed through the alley, hopped a short stone wall, and crouched low beneath a hedge. Everything was silent. I checked my watch. 9:12 p.m., right on time. The second-story bathroom window, always left cracked for circulation. According to the cleaner's idle conversation at the deli, was only 6 feet above the garden shed. I climbed up carefully. No cracks, no motion lights, not a single flaw in the plan, except the feeling. It hit just as I gripped the windowsill, like static in the air, like a presence that didn't belong to the night wind or house shadows. Goosebumps traced my arm beneath the fabric. Never ignore that feeling, my father used to say. That's the house, breathing, and if it's breathing, it's watching. But I had already committed. No turning back. I slid the window open. It gave a long, low creak, like it hadn't been touched in years. And that's when I felt it. Not fear, not nerves, just noticed. Like whatever lived inside the silence had been waiting for someone to open the door. I slipped through the window, slow and quiet, but the air inside didn't welcome me. It inhaled. Chapter 2. The Eyes in the Dark. A thief expects silence, but this house seemed to breathe. You spend your life perfecting stillness, how to sense motion from the corner of your eye, but every once in a while, you break your own rules, you ignore your gut, and that's when the house starts watching you back. I slipped through the second-story window like smoke, breath low, steps measured, moonlight cut across the room in thin slashes, pooling on polished floor that smelled like lemon oil and money. Luxury practically oozed from the walls, velvet drapes, crystal lamps, hand-carved bedposts thicker than my torso, the kind of place where people hang paintings they never actually look at. I moved quickly. First, the master bedroom, jewelry drawers, side closets, a Rolex box, set aside a crystal tumbler, untouched, child's play. Then I hit the walk-in closet, an overstuffed cavern of designer nonsense, shoes that cost more than rent, clutches with more diamonds than seams, and then I saw it. Nestled in the back of a velvet-lined display was something wrong, a pendant, diamond encrusted, but in a shape I didn't recognize. Not a brand, not cultural. It looked ritualistic, like it was carved to hold meaning, not value. I reached out, touched the edge with gloved fingers, and my flashlight flickered. Just once. A blink. Then it sputtered again. That's when I noticed, in the vanity mirror across the room, there was something standing behind me. I turned fast. Nothing. My chest tightened. Sweat broke across my brow. I scanned the shadows. Nothing. I turned back to the mirror. And there it was, again. Closer now. Just a blur. A figure with shoulders and eyes, watching. I backed up slowly, breath caught in my throat. Had I tripped something? Did the owner come back early? No, that wasn't footsteps. This felt older. The air grew heavy. Not cold, not hot, just thick. Hard to breathe, like I was underwater. Then came the sound, not from the mirror, from the hallway. A step, another, slow, measured. Then, the door slammed. Somewhere downstairs. I flinched, heartbeat, punching against my ribs. I turned off the flashlight, heart screaming at me to leave. Now! I moved toward the window I came through. Knees bent, fingers brushing the sill, and the window slammed shut, all by itself, and the house exhaled. Chapter 3. No Way Out. The door slammed, so did every escape route. There's a special kind of fear, a kind that doesn't scream. It presses, like the walls themselves are leaning in, listening, and when that fear takes hold, you stop being a thief, you start being prey. I didn't panic, not at first. Years of training kicked in. Find another exit. Stick to the shadows. Don't make noise. Simple rules until the air itself starts feeling alive. The window slammed behind me. I flinched. Too loud. Then the front door. Bang! The back. Locked. The garage. Deadbolted. The house had sealed itself. I slipped into the guest room, pressing flat against the wall. My breath fogged against the cool surface of a floor-length mirror. Then, the front door burst open. Boots on marble, a man's voice, drunk, furious, broken. "Where are you, huh? You think I don't know?" His voice cracked like a whip through the air, full of accusation and venom. I ducked into a walk-in closet, easing the door almost shut. Footsteps thudded past, fast, staggered. He wasn't alone, but he wasn't following me. "I saw your damn car. You left it running again. You think I can't smell him on you?" He was yelling at someone who wasn't answering, and something about the silence, it wasn't defensive, it was absent. He stormed past the room again. I held my breath. Then, the light flickered, the same cold pulse I'd felt in the hallway. I turned, slowly, toward the mirror across from the closet, and I saw it, not my reflection, not alone, behind me, a shadow, tall, still, wrong, its head tilted, just barely. I spun around. Nothing. I felt something brush the back of my neck like a cold fingertip, tracing my spine. No breath, no footsteps, just a presence. Then, suddenly, the footsteps returned. The man, charging down the hall, something heavy, dragging in his hand. A crowbar? A golf club? I didn't know. Where is she? I barely had time to shift deeper into the closet before the door flung open, but he wasn't looking at me. He was staring straight into the mirror, his eyes wide, hollow, like he was seeing something else entirely. And then he turned, not toward me, but toward a hidden panel on the wall. He pressed his hand to it. It clicked, slid open. Inside wasn't a safe. It was a panic room. Small, dark, with something breathing inside. And that's when I realized he hadn't come along, and I wasn't the one he was afraid of. Chapter 4. The Panic Room. You'd think the panic room is where you hide from monsters, not where you meet them. I've broken into houses with $1,000,000 vaults, laser grids, and more cameras than a movie set, but this was different. Watching evil unfold behind a closet full of Gucci, that was a first. I stayed still, breath shallow, body pinned between coats that smelled like cologne and plastic wrap. I watched through a narrow slit in the door as the man stood inside the panic room, mumbling to himself. "Pete said that ritual's already started," he muttered. "I told them I'd bring something fresh." My stomach tightened. Ritual? His voice didn't sound angry anymore, just focused, reverent, like he was preparing for something sacred and unspeakably wrong. He began changing out of his soaked button-down, revealing a tattoo across his back. I only caught a glimpse, but it wasn't in English, just twisted black symbols that looked like they didn't belong in this world. Then I felt it again. That pressure, like someone standing behind you, breathing just a little too close. The air got colder, my skin prickled, and then, through the crack, I saw it, the figure again, behind him, standing in the corner of the panic room, like it had always been there, tall, gaunt, drenched. Its hair hung in wet ropes down its face, and the air shimmered around it like heat off asphalt. He didn't seem to notice. Instead, he walked over to the metal door and knocked once, twice. Then he shouted, "Open up!" Silence. He slammed his fist, then retrieved a hammer from the shelf. I said, "Open it!" Bang, bang, bang! Each strike echoed through the house. I dared to peek. There were monitors, 6 of them, set into the wall, cycling between night vision and infrared. Each one showed a different angle of the house. The front door, the stairwell, the pool, and one, my stomach dropped. One showed me my entry point, the second-story window. That meant this wasn't just some rich man's playground. It was a hunting ground. Bang, bang! The hammer strikes grew louder. Then, suddenly, a new sound, a whisper from under the bed, just inches from where I crouched. "Who are you?" I froze because the voice didn't sound afraid. It sounded hungry. Chapter 5. Alara. She wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to be real. In this line of work, I expected gold chains, watches, maybe even a hidden safe, but a woman, breathing, shaking, half broken, that wasn't part of the plan. I felt like this house had been keeping her, like a secret. Her voice was paper thin, and it came from right beneath me. "Who are you?" I dropped to my knees and pulled back the hanging duvet. There she was, curled up, skeleton thin, skin a patchwork of bruises and burns. Her hair clung to her face, matted and oily, eyes sunken but sharp, not confused, not broken. She knew where she was. She knew what I was. "A thief?" she whispered. "Good, maybe you can steal me out of here." I knelt lower, heart hammering. "How long have you?" "3 weeks, she said flatly. "Or 3 years. Time's different here." I scanned the room again. The luxury, the clean white closet, the vanity mirror, the hardwood floors, it all looked the same. But around her, it felt wrong. The carpet was stained, the air was damp, like the house had rotted inward, just around her. "What happened to you?" She sat up slowly, revealing her arms, scarred, branded, a familiar, diamond-shaped glyph seared into her skin, the same twisted symbol I'd found in that jewelry brooch. "That thing you found upstairs," she said. "It's not just jewelry. It's a key, a mark." My stomach turned. She crawled out from under the bed and sat against the wall, trembling. "They bring people here, the rich ones, not just for power, but for offerings." Her eyes locked with mine. "I wasn't the first, but I was the only one who survived long enough to talk." A deep thud echoed through the walls. We both froze. A sound like stone grinding against stone, like a giant block turning underground. I moved closer, whispering, "We have to get you out, now." She shook her head. "I can't leave. You have to. I made a deal." Her voice cracked, low and haunted. "A ritual, a calling. I wanted revenge on the man who locked me here, on the ones who watched." "You summoned something?" Her lips quivered. "I promised the demon I conjured it could feed." The air dropped 10 degrees in an instant. The light bulbs in the vanity flickered. Somewhere above us, glass shattered. And then, a scream. Not hers, not mine, not human. It echoed through the ducts, the walls, the floor, and with it came the groan of the house, like wood bending around something that didn't belong. The floor beneath us shifted. The walls breathed. And whatever she summoned was coming to collect. Chapter 6. The Collector. There are worse things than being caught. One of them just walked in. I thought I'd seen death before. Overdose dealers, silent bodies in alleyways, but this was something even death would back away from. It didn't just take lives, it took meaning. The air shifted before I heard anything, like the room took a breath, sharp and icy, and held it. Then came the footsteps. But they weren't footsteps, they were something deeper, like bones grinding through wet sand. like claws tapping on hardwood, and something, breathing behind them, the closet door, swung open, not from hands, but from force. A pressure, like the air itself obeyed something ancient. The man, the rich bastard, he wasn't arrogant anymore. He was crawling, bleeding, face pale, eyes wild. "No, no, not now!" he gasped, dragging himself back toward the panic room. I grabbed Alara's arm. She was frozen, like prey before the strike. I pulled, but she wouldn't move. She just whispered one word. "He's here." And then we saw it. The air shimmered like heat waves, then peeled open. From nothing, a hand, long, clawed, black as rot. I reached through the space where the closet had been and gripped him by the chest. The man screamed. The sound didn't feel real. It felt guttural, animalistic, unraveling, like his voice didn't want to follow him. He fought. He clawed at the carpet. Fingers tore into it like a child refusing bedtime. Only bedtime was forever. "Please, please, I did what you asked," he screamed into nothing. And then a voice, not one voice, many, all speaking at once, from inside the walls, from the wood, from our skin. "You offered what was yours. We've come for what you promised." The man was yanked into the dark, where the shadows swallowed him. The carpet ignited. Flames danced in a circle, not wild, not free, but precise, like a seal closing. He screamed until there is nothing left to scream with, and then silence. Real silence. Not absence, but warning. Smoke crept towards us. The hallway, behind the panic room, was glowing red. The fire didn't spread. It was waiting. I turned to Alara. She wasn't crying. She wasn't panicked. She just looked at me and said, "What do we do?" And the worst part was, I didn't have an answer. Not anymore. Chapter 7. The Escape. Smoke, screams, and sirens. Time to run. I'd felt like prey before. Now I know exactly what it's like to be hunted. Not by cops, not by guards, but by something ancient and patient and owned. We didn't wait. We couldn't. The fire roared behind us like it knew we were leaving, hungry for more. I grabbed Alara's arm. She stumbled, barefoot, bleeding, didn't matter. We moved like shadows, like the smoke that poured from the cursed place. I smashed the nearest window with a garden statue. Glass exploded outward like a scream made solid. I pulled her through, the air, outside, cold, real, living air, but even that didn't feel safe. Behind us, the house groaned, not like a building dying, like a mouth closing. The neighbors were starting to gather, drawn by the glow, the sound, the sirens echoing in the distance. And yet, none of them screamed. None of them asked why the fire looked like it bled, why the heat wrapped the lawn like flesh instead of grass. I threw the duffel bag of stolen goods to the ground, stared at it, and knew. Some things are too heavy to carry. I picked it up, just once, and hurled it back through the broken window, into the flames. Gold, gems, the brooch. They belonged to something else now. Alara didn't say a word, just looked at me, with those eyes, not thankful, not afraid, just hollow. We moved quick, through the side gate, down the alley, into the dark where the streetlights didn't reach. My car was waiting 3 blocks away. I kept the engine warm, the keys in my boot, just in case. We got in. She didn't ask where we were going. I didn't ask what she had done, but the silence wasn't empty. It buzzed. It breathed. And when I looked at her, I saw more than bruises. I saw something that had been seen. Something that had been seen by it. We made it to the edge of town before either of us spoke. She turned toward me, still crying, but steady now, and I asked her, the one question I couldn't bury, no matter how fast we drove. "Alara, how did you summon it?" She didn't answer. She just looked at me and smiled, but not with her mouth, with her eyes. Chapter 8. Revenge is prayer. She didn't pray for mercy, she prayed for revenge, and something answered. They always say prayers rise up toward some forgiving sky, but not hers. Hers went downward, into the crawl space of reality, where something old and angry waits and listens. We were a mile down the road when I asked her, "How did you summon it?" Alara didn't answer me right away. She just stared out the passenger window, face bathed in orange flicker, still chasing us across the horizon. "I didn't summon it," she finally said. Her voice was thin. frayed like a worn-out string. I begged for it. I slowed the car, heart pounding, headlights chasing the white eyes of something in the trees. A deer? Probably. Hopefully. You begged for what? I asked. She turned her head toward me, and in the silence that followed, I realized her eyes weren't just tired. They were hollow. Now what? She whispered. Who? I couldn't tell if she was about to cry or laugh. I don't know its name. I only know what it does. It collects things, and it listens to people like me. The ones no one else hears. The ones screaming behind locked doors. The tires hummed against the asphalt. The smell of smoke still clung to my skin. In the rearview mirror, the sky pulsed with a faint glow. Firelight, or something else, I didn't know anymore. I glanced at her wrists. Bruised, burned, carved with something unnatural. But the look in her eyes, she wasn't a victim anymore. Not entirely. You made a deal? I said. She nodded once. What did it cost you? Another long silence. Nothing I wasn't already losing, she said. And then she opened the door. We weren't even stopped. Just enough for her to roll out, land hard, and start walking into the trees like she knew exactly where she was going. I called out. I cursed. I slammed the brakes and jumped out. By the time I'd got where she had landed, she was gone, like the house, like the screams, like the monster that answered her prayers. I never stole again after that night. I tried to sleep, but the sounds came back. The hammer, the flames, the voice. That wasn't a voice. Sometimes I wonder if she's out there, still walking, still praying, or maybe answering someone else's. And sometimes, late at night, when my chest tightens and the shadows feel too still, I think about what she said. Not what, who. And I wonder if it heard me too.
If you ever whisper to the dark, make sure you're ready for it to whisper back. If this story followed you home, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. It helps the voices reach further. Thanks for listening to Creepypasta Tapes. If you're still here, maybe the thing in the closet didn't take you yet. New episodes drop every Monday. Full stories, no filler, just fear. And if you got a tale worth sharing, something you've seen, something you survived, our inbox is always open. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your eyes open, and whatever you do, don't answer prayers you didn't make.